Hey everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to some more Mianite building, and today we're finishing off Nadeshot's castle. I'm here on top of the castle, and as always, joined by Phil.
Hello.
Hello. So here we go. This is where we left it in yesterday's video. This is the top. There's not a lot of detail in it yet. We've got a lot of cobblestone everywhere.
Yeah, basically it's just a cobblestone shape at the moment, but that's why we're here today. We're here to detail it and to make it look pretty and awesome.
Yep. And
Less pretty, more
well,
sinister. But
yeah. So I'm going to start off here by grabbing some green stained clay and some black stained clay, and they're going to be our main two colors. We're going to build most of this out of here. So
pretty much like the bottom of the bits that you remember already down there.
Yeah, the big spiky spikes that come out. And again, this is one of those things where we're just trying to bulk these spikes out, make them look a little bit better, make them look more sinister. Because right now they're just a block thick. You can't have a block thick spike. That's not going to look cool.
No, it's not good. If
It's
you're
not
going to
good.
have spikes, you need to have big spikes,
Yeah,
with
big
jagged edges and
menacing ones.
horrible things. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is me just coming up with a design. But I think we should jump into time-lapse here and do some more.
Always a time lapse.
Yep, always good for a time-lapse. So here we go. Okay, I've stopped the time lapse there as I'm chiseling out a window. You know, I'm a window builder today. This is my job now.
You're the window wizard.
The window wizard. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit longer now because we've got a long section here where we can just talk about the build in general and us on Mianite and things like that. So we are the wizards. We've been
the wizards.
We've been brought on to do lots of cool builds and lots of cool things on Mianite, and this is kind of like one of the first big ones that we did because obviously we did our HQ, which you can see if you check out the previous Mianite building videos. But this is one that we're building for Nadeshot, Optic Nadeshot, and Syndicate himself actually gave us the diamonds for this.
Yeah, so for those that aren't familiar with it, we get diamonds in game, and people pay a certain amount of diamonds for a certain size of wizardly build. And what we use the diamonds for? Well, that's what we use. We have our secrets. We're not all sharing wizards. So
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. We've got quite a few builds that have already been put in the chests and commissioned for us. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing.
I just spelled cobble wrong. I spelled it covel.
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 The coven.
I'm doing
Diablo.
great. Good job at typing there, Self. Here we go. So I'm just basically designing these areas for some big stained glass windows to go in and just trying to get a shape that I'm kind of happy with, which is always difficult actually with stained glass windows just to get the right shape.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can just look a little bit weird and sometimes you've got to get it right. I'm a little bit happy with that shape now. A few little tweaks maybe and expanding around the sides. It's kind of the biggest plan, really.
Some cool windows that they'll be able to see at least when they're walking around the base and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to aim for. Because it is going to be used as a base, which is, another challenge of building on Mianite is to get something that is practical.
Yeah, because we want to make things that look really good, but also things that look good in a practical sense, like you said, but because we want to include things like, windows to see around, but also crafting benches, chests, things like that. So we've got to incorporate things like that into the design, but still making them look good, which is obviously, something which we don't usually have to do when building things.
Yeah, it's like building bases, but like we don't normally build bases. We just build awesome things.
Yeah.
That have got detail that's just pretty to look at.
Yeah, so while I'm building away on this window and trying to figure out what I like, we've got a couple of other wizards who are building these big turrets that are going up along the side of the front and the back of the tower. And we were also trying to figure out what to do with these indented green sections. And that's one of those things where we have a lot of people. Well, we don't have a lot of people, I suppose. 3-4 of us building isn't a lot of people. But that's enough for us to really kind of start figuring out, what we really need to do to make this thing awesome. So, again, I'm just adding little bits and bobs in here to see.
It's always good to have someone to bounce off of, to kind of come in and say, well, actually, I've got this idea. It helps make everything go smoother. But if you have too many people, well, the phrase about too many chefs and all that. So
Yep. And this is what I do. I destroy and rebuild and try to make things look good. Again, it's one of those things where it's taking a step back and just looking at things before jumping in. I think that's the best way to do it. Again, this is also why I've left this running a little bit longer for you guys rather than just jumping into time lapses all the time. It's just to show you guys that the time lapses are sped up so much. Like, you've already seen me just building this for a little while now. And it's been quite a while if it was me just building this. Yeah. So
it's not all done first time round.
Quick. Yeah, there's a lot of changes going in there. And if you look really closely at the time-lapse footage, you'll see that changes are made pretty quickly. But I really like the shape now. I'm getting happy with it. Obviously, I've got to add more detail shape and obviously the stained glass window itself, but it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with this. And obviously, nice got to copy this design over, and then it'll look perfect, pretty much.
That's the thing, is like once you've got one done, the rest of it comes very quick, so...
And talking about the rest coming very quick, I think we should jump into another time lapse, which is always very quick. So here we go, another time lapse. And there we go. That is pretty much the entire outside done. And I'm just going crazy now placing trees. Which is a thing we have to do.
It's the one thing that is when you're dealing with a landscape, you're just kind of like, oh man, this thing just looks so empty. But it's like, well, you got to get all the trees back in. You're gonna add all the other bits of landscape. So it's kind of like, you cut a section out and leave it very clear, build something in, and then blend it back in. So there's lots of different stages to it, but it's always the hardest one is the trees, because you're like, oh well, do I do it a lot? Do I do not so much? What kind of trees do I use?
And finding that balance is difficult. Again, we're using Voxel Sniper and World Edit to help us along here. They are our wizardly powers, and this is the Voxel Sniper tree command here that I'm spawning in some trees with. Again, I'm starting off with big trees, and then I'll go in and put in some smaller trees and things like that. But again, they instantly start adding something, I think, to a build. It starts bringing it back into the Minecraft world rather than just being a thing on a big, giant, flat plane. Here we go, I'm now adding some smaller ones in too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's also another thing about this is, because we're doing this in Mianite, we need to be very careful of what sort of resources we're putting in and stuff like that. And I mean, doing stuff like trees is, it's pretty harmless, to be honest, and we're not putting, a dramatic amount in there, but it's enough to kind of make a difference.
And this is the obsidian spam, as I call it. So
this is an issue technique. This is one that you've come up with. So
I've used this method for a little while now. When I try to let buildings be overgrown or adding leaves to something, I don't place the leaves for two reasons. One, to make them not decay, they have to be a certain type of leaf. I think it's after 9 onwards are the leaves where they won't decay normally. And then 2, obsidian is a block that is rarely found in the world, so other than obviously in generators and things like that, and we won't select that region or make that region be affected. So what I do is I use obsidian to create a cool looking kind of tendril shape kind of going up these buildings, and I do this on a lot of builds, and then later I will just replace all of the obsidian with leaves, which make a really cool kind of overgrown apocalyptic almost look with leaves just growing up the side of things.
It's almost cool, it's corruption to start with, almost thing, just because it's obsidian.
Purple,
we've used it as that, but then we do actually change it, into something nice. But it's an easy technique for doing it, and it just speeds the process up again. But it also means that when you look back, you get a very clear purple color to sort of go right, that is how that looks, rather than it blending in and stuff.
And figuring out that's exactly where the leaves are going to be. And the thing is, purple usually stands out quite a lot on builds, especially on grey. You can see it. And here we go. This is after they've all been replaced. This is almost like Art Attack. Are we doing Art Attack, Phil?
Here's one I made earlier.
This is what we made earlier. But here we go. This is all the leaves are now being changed to all the obsidian has been changed to leaves, and you can see it's kind of got that little bit of an overgrown feel. It's a nice little detail, and it adds asymmetry to a build and stuff like that, which I think is always really nice and a really good thing to do. So anyway, let's have another little fly around here as it's raining, it's pouring in the world of Mianite, and you can get a good look at the build here. It's pretty crazy. There's leaves growing up all the way up near the top, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot kind of going on with it, and I think this is about the outside about finished now. I think we're looking pretty good with this outside.
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way since the blank cobble that we started with earlier. So it's always awesome. I just love those lava streams coming down.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, the lava streams on the side.
We got his symbol on the side there as well.
Optic
very important.
Gaming,
Yep, very important to get that on the side, get his brand out there.
And that's pretty much a tour of the entire outside, but we haven't really started an inside yet, so I think that's probably something we should probably crack on with pretty soon, if I'm honest. But I do love this shot of the base from down here. It just looks really cool from down here, I think.
It's really nice because, you know, when you're building and especially flying around so much, you can almost lose the sense of scale. And then you come down to the bottom and it's like, whoa, that's actually like really looming, really big. Yeah. And everything is a lot bigger than what you imagine. But yeah, the inside,
you're in here.
As you can
Hello.
see. Hello. I was just enjoying the emptiness of the giant open room.
Yeah, it's crazy in here. It's really cool
just trying to get a few
this.
ideas for like some like, you know, bits walking around, maybe some staircases and stuff.
Yep.
But you got these really nice hallways, and you can do a lot of cool stuff at the ends as well. So
indeed. So one thing I noticed when we were walking around there was no path to the castle. So I've just finished building a castle. What is Tom? Hi, Tom. This is one of the wizards, Tom.
He's just always seeking for
always
attention.
In the way. So here we go. I've built a little
way.
path that goes through the mountain here, and you can see I've added a lot of the blacks and the greens in here, and then this leads up to the staircase. And inside, we've started laying out a little bit of the shape here. A little bit of the shape, figuring out exactly what we're going to do. And there's some sort of redstone contraption down there. I don't actually know what that is.
I'm not too sure either. I think it's one of the wizards just getting bored and playing around with a few ideas. I don't know.
Oh god! Time-lapse, I think, yep. Okay, there we go. That scared me. Those diamonds.
Graciously recovered.
Yeah, perfect. So this is it. This is the finished thing. We've put even more detail into the inside than like ever seen. There's so much in here now. It's absolutely crazy the amount of detail that you can actually see inside inside here. It's really, really cool. And up there is a cool looking chandelier, which is kind of an odd design that I created. It looks a little bit like a pea hat from Zelda, if anyone's familiar with that. It's like a little helicopter or something. It's an interesting design.
Yeah,
and
it's tied it off nicely
cool.
with a little evil green bow.
Yep, and you can climb these little side towers to get up to higher sections, all the way up near the top. And there's lots of other things in here. And we've got some night vision. I've got some milk because I've been busy building Jerry's tree. But under the base, here we go. This is the under base. So there's a lot of cool survival elements in here, including a really cool mine shaft down this way. That's the way to his vault, and this is the mine shaft right here. And then back this way, you can see farms for farther than the eye can see. You know, it goes so far.
Yeah. They're all automatic as well, and there's even
very cool.
There's some really cool features on this little under bit here, and
there's
I
mob
think he's
spawners.
gonna like it.
Mob spawners. Yeah, hopefully Nate likes it. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
Phil.
amazing to see what he thinks when he comes in and bulks out. You know, maybe get an episode of Cribs or something like that rolled in.
Yeah, and that's it. That is Nadeshot's castle. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Stick around for some awesome cinematic shots of the castle right after this. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more Mianite building. Next up is Jerry's Tree 2.0. So see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.